Los Angeles Rams fans, I don't know about you, but it feels like the Dallas Cowboys are desperately trying to copy our homework this offseason. Derion Kendrick has officially moved on, signing with the Cowboys in a move that suggests Dallas is banking on the same developmental energy that defined our defensive coaching staff. It is genuinely fascinating to see another perennial powerhouse try to replicate the Los Angeles Rams blueprint for building a secondary. And honestly, the more details come out, the harder it is to ignore what is going on behind the scenes. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your name and city in the comments. Let's get into it. The Dallas Cowboys are clearly looking to replicate the success we have enjoyed in Los Angeles by targeting former Rams defensive backs Derion Kendrick and Kobe Durant. For us, Kendrick has been a familiar face since he arrived as a late-round pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. While his college pedigree at Georgia suggested high upside, he spent his time with us as a volatile contributor who logged 47 games. He struggled with speed, recording a 4.7 time in the 40-yard dash, and ultimately served as a depth piece rather than a lockdown starter. The part fans are not ready for is the specific analysis coming from Ramblin' Fan, where Brett Studer labeled Kendrick as a hot and cold player. Studer argues that while Kendrick can provide value in a limited role, anyone expecting him to blossom into a high-end starter may be setting themselves up for frustration. Our fan base has watched this development unfold for 3 seasons, and the consensus seems to be that he was a serviceable backup who never quite took that next step into being a dangerous ball hawk. The fact that he only managed 3 interceptions during his tenure here highlights why some observers view this move by Dallas with extreme caution. While the Cowboys hope their coaching staff can unlock the potential that once made him a top recruit, many of us in the Rams community remain skeptical about his ceiling in a starting capacity. If Kendrick could not consistently command a lead role in our scheme, why would he succeed in an unproven secondary filled with veterans and rookies? This transition brings us to an uncomfortable reality regarding our own defensive depth moving forward. With Kendrick now off the roster, we have to address a pressing question. Exactly how much did the team know about his limitations that we simply could not see on the field? The most surprising reality regarding this defensive shift is that the Dallas Cowboys are actively looking to replicate the developmental blueprint Sean McVay and Chris Shula established right here in Los Angeles. This pursuit led them to add Derion Kendrick and Kobe Durant, banking on the internal coaching culture that helped Kendrick transition from a late draft pick with a 4.7 40-yard dash time into a consistent presence across 47 games. According to Brett Studer at Ramblin' Fan, Kendrick is essentially a hot and cold cornerback who struggles with consistency, making this move a classic high-risk gamble for a franchise usually accustomed to different player profiles. Historically, our front office prioritized pedigree to nurture raw talent, often accepting volatile performance in exchange for long-term development. Behind closed doors, the Rams' leadership likely views this departure as a testament to their own successful scouting and coaching prowess, knowing they squeezed 3 interceptions out of a player many scouts once overlooked. It is fascinating to see another organization attempt to borrow our internal methodology rather than simply chasing big names in free agency. The bottom line here is that the Cowboys believe they can fix the technical shortcomings that plagued Kendrick during his time in our system. While the Cowboys have famously relied on players like Trevon Diggs and Darren Bland, they are now pivoting toward the type of depth piece that our staff spent 3 seasons refining. If Christian Parker can finally unlock the potential that once made Kendrick a top-tier recruit at Georgia, this might look like a savvy pickup for Dallas. However, as Rams fans, we have seen firsthand that relying on such a player to anchor a secondary is a precarious strategy that often leaves a defense exposed when the stakes are at their absolute highest during the regular season. It is fascinating to watch other organizations look toward our culture in Los Angeles to build their own winning blueprints. But for us, this development serves as a stark reminder of the transition we are navigating under Sean McVay and Chris Shula. Watching the Dallas Cowboys attempt to replicate our developmental philosophy by signing Derion Kendrick and Kobe Durant highlights the high value placed on our internal coaching standards, yet it simultaneously creates a roster void we must address. We now lose 2 experienced pieces who provided necessary depth in our secondary, forcing our front office to pivot toward younger, unproven talent to fill those rotation spots. This is where it gets real because our defensive cohesion relies on reliable veterans who understand the system. Without Kendrick and Durant, our upcoming matchups against explosive offenses become significantly more demanding, as we will have less margin for error when covering quick receivers. The shifting landscape of our defensive backfield could influence our standing in the NFC West, especially since our rivals are constantly monitoring how we adjust our personnel depth chart. If our younger defensive backs fail to replicate the consistency provided by these departing players, our playoff aspirations could hit a significant hurdle during the mid-season stretch. It forces us to rely heavily on the coaching prowess of Chris Shula to fast-track the growth of our remaining secondary members. While imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, the competitive reality is that we must now maintain our defensive dominance without the very individuals who helped forge it. We have full confidence that our staff remains the standard, but the upcoming season will be the ultimate test of whether our system is strong enough to transcend the loss of these specific contributors as we push toward the postseason in a very crowded conference field. The Dallas Cowboys are clearly looking to replicate our defensive success by signing both Derion Kendrick and Kobe Durant this offseason. The upside here for Dallas is centered on the developmental energy fostered by Sean McVay and Chris Shula, which turned late-round prospects into key contributors for us. If they can harness that same magic, they might find themselves with two reliable pieces to shore up an otherwise shaky secondary. However, the risk is substantial. Brett Studer of Ramblin' Fan identifies Kendrick as the epitome of a hot and cold player whose lackluster workout results, including a 4.7 speed in the 40-yard dash, often hinder his performance. While Kendrick has managed to carve out a career as a depth piece, relying on him as a starter is a gamble that may leave the Cowboys' defensive staff feeling frustrated. Analysts are noting that Dallas is opting for a mix of unproven veterans and youngsters like Shaven Revel Jr. and Devin Moore instead of established stars. And I will be straight with you, the idea that Kendrick will suddenly become a ball hawk for Dallas seems overblown given he only has 3 interceptions in 47 games. While the addition of a coach like Christian Parker might provide the technical guidance Kendrick needs, I remain skeptical that he can overcome his physical limitations to anchor a starting unit. Here is where I land on this move. The Cowboys are likely banking on the hope that our team culture is transferable. If they expect Kendrick or Durant to transform their defensive identity, they might be in for a rude awakening. While we have enjoyed the benefits of this developmental process, watching it succeed elsewhere is far from a guarantee, especially when the depth in Dallas is so clearly unproven and unsettled compared to the championship-caliber standard we expect here in Los Angeles. The recent departure of players like Derion Kendrick and Kobe Durant to the Dallas Cowboys highlights a fascinating shift in how the rest of the league views our organizational philosophy. For years, we have seen Sean McVay and Chris Shula cultivate talent that others are now desperate to replicate. This indicates that our front office has successfully built a sustainable developmental pipeline, ensuring the Rams remain perennial powers even as personnel rotate out. Let's be real. Seeing our former depth pieces sought after by other franchises confirms that our internal coaching standards are among the best in the NFL. You should feel a deep sense of pride heading into this season because this trend validates our strategic vision. Our ability to squeeze value out of late draft picks, like Kendrick with his 4.7 speed, proves that our system is built to last beyond just a single championship window. While critics like Brett Studer at Ramblin' Fan point out the volatility in Kendrick's game, that inconsistency is exactly what our coaches have spent years mitigating. We are not just losing players, we are exporting a culture of discipline and growth that defines what it means to wear these colors. Moving forward, the goal remains to reload rather than rebuild. And this exodus suggests we have plenty more waiting in the wings to step up. Do you believe the Rams coaching staff can successfully develop a replacement for Derion Kendrick, who offers more consistency than the former Bulldog showed in his 47 games? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Ram it! I'll see you in the next one. For now, keep your eyes on the upcoming draft prospects as the front office prepares to address these lingering secondary concerns before the new season officially begins.